Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And today I'm up with DIY Art Bin and a Let's Make This, and that's what I have done, and we're going to use it again because I quite like using things in different ways. So this is the ghost, the moon, and this particular ghost comes with little antlers, which I found quite unusual. You get some little bats, and you also get like a flower wreath to put in the hair. Now I didn't actually do that, so I did my own thing, and we're going to use it a different way. So I'll put it down so I'm not wobbling all over the place, and I used Peachy Keen digital stamp on the moon, and also a Peachy Keen digital on a sheet of paper before I cut the ghost out. I've used the antlers, but I haven't used the wreath, and that background piece of paper there is from the Snap Click Supply Cartabella Haunted pack. So I just thought that would be a great background for it. Now, when you look at the dies on the website, they're quite sort of a little bit pagan, spooky. So I just thought I'd change it to my way, and that is, of course, a sort of scarecrow face, and I just thought it would look really cool on the moon. But then I got to thinking, because as you tidy up your scraps and you start chucking stuff in the bin, that's when you start having other ideas. So I'm going to scoot that over to there, and I've cut a sheet of black and a sheet of white. So I'm 4 inches on the white and 4 1/4 on the black, and that is going to be a frame. But I'm going to be using the white piece, obviously. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Always inspect your goods before they go in the bin. That's what I say. Because that is what the ghost was. Do you see that? That's what I'm left with after I cut my ghost. So that for me now is a stencil. Now I'm only going to do one ghost here, and I'm going to do a pink ghost. Yes, I am. Because I'm thinking maybe a little girl would like, you know, a sort of spooky pink ghost. But if you wanted to, you can flip that over now and stencil through that side, and you've got a pair of ghosts that are actually holding hands. So, you know, that opens it up again for you. But for me today, I am going to try and think about where the centre of my card is there. And I'm going to go there. Now, I'm going to be using spun sugar for my ghost. And somewhere in there is going to go seedless preserves, which is a lot darker. Now, I'm also going to be using my Peachy Keen stamps because, you know, I was already thinking Peachy Keen. And I'm thinking 3/4 inch is the size to go. Now these are the Sweet Innocent Face assortment, but I've also got my Princess assortment out, and also this set, and I'm thinking maybe the bow, and you know, you can make sort of swirly twirlies in Halloween colours, so you can have your peppermint things going on as well. So yeah, you know, that's what I'm thinking. So anyway, I've got my piece of cardstock down there, so let's have a go. And just reaching over here, I've grabbed my blending tool. I've already got my spun sugar. I'm going to load it up because the intention is to be quite pink, so I'm loading it up quite well. So I want it to be good saturated colour, and if I want to use my my chalky pastels, my Jane Davenport ones, then I'll do that too. Right, now you'll see I haven't got it stuck down on anything, so you know, just hope it doesn't shift about on you. But I did put plenty on, so the idea is to get a good saturation of colour for your ghost. Now, sometimes with some cardstocks you can end up being a bit blotchy, but I think that's okay. So we're hoping that we've got a pink ghost now, and I do want to get just a little bit more colour down on that side. Right, so I'm going to lift that up. So now we have an outline of a ghost. Now, looking at this one over here, I can kind of see where all the emboss points are, which is where the folds in the sheet would be. And of course we don't have those because we're using this as a stencil. So that's where you would go in and you would use your chalks. So you just need to line up that, she says, hopefully. Yeah, that's wibbling around a bit, isn't it? So let's put that back up there. And I've got my Jane Davenport chalks, and you've seen these before, and I'm using the grey one. I do like doing the grey one quite a bit for shadows. So that's my grey one right there, and I've always got pink on the other side because I do like to use them an awful lot. Now, one of the things you have to remember is when using oxides, the pigment kind of sits on the surface, so it takes a little bit longer to dry. So I'm just going to pause and then I'll come back when it's dry. Right, so I think that that is dry enough, and you can see what I've done here is I've dropped the stencil down slightly and over there, and I don't know what kind of effect that's going to have, but I do know that I want this side of my ghost to be slightly darker, so I don't know whether that grey there is going to cast a shadow, but we can certainly have a go. And I'm just going to take the lid off this again, and I'm just going back in. Because I think the sheet is going to be, you know, quite shaded and maybe a little bit dirty looking at the bottom. Right, now thinking about where the creases are and looking at this again, you can see your points here are kind of like denoting where your crease would be. So I've just bobbed the tip into there, and I'm just going to drag my chalk line, or pastel, whatever you like to call it. And I have moved slightly, so remember with these kinds of things you can always blend in with your finger if you think you went a little bit too far. So I'm going to go down there. Right, and then I'm just going to smoosh it slightly, and we'll see what kind of effect we've had, because it's always better to do just a little bit, because if you do too much you might not like it. And I'm just going to blow on that, get those little bits off, and you can see you've got that really subtle fold in your ghosty sheet, and I quite like that. And I like that it's just a little bit more grey over to that side. Right, now I've decided to go with the oh, let's have a look at my stamp sheet. I'm going with the 5/8 size. I think the 3/4 size is going to be too big. And I've got my stamp here, and I've got my VersaFine Claire. So these are very good quality stamps, so you don't normally have to worry. Right, now I'm positioning this, and I'm kind of looking at the camera while I do it and hoping that the face is in the correct place. Now I do tend to rock my stamp a little bit. So now we've got a little ghosty face, which is really sweet. Really like that. And I'm going to have to clean my stamps afterwards. But now we can see where the face is. We can go in with some pink for the cheeks. So I'm loading up on something that's going to be a little bit complimentary. I've got quite a lot on there. And I need to go underneath my stamp line. So I'm just doing it gently to begin with. And we'll start to give her some nice rosy cheeks to this little ghost. And I will pick it up so that you can have a look, because I haven't got a clue what the the light is looking like on my camera today. So let's pick that up. There you can see, look, she's got some lovely little cheeks. And I think the inside of her mouth, I'm going to use a much darker pink. And all I've done is pop the tip right into it. And I'm just going to touch the mouth, just to make that a little bit darker. So I hope you can see that. Isn't she sweet? Yeah, sweet ghosty for a little girl. Right, so having done that, I now want to use the bow from the Christmas set. I'm just going to pause a second. Right, so I've got that, and I've popped my little bow on from that gingerbread Christmas set that I showed you. And I'm just inking it up. And I think I'm going to go off to the side of her head, and I think I'm going to do it there. So now she's got a little bow on top of her head, and we're going to smoosh very gently, because this is not watercolour cardstock, just that little bit of ink up into there. I just want to blend it enough so that I can then go in with my seedless preserves, which, as you know, is quite dark. So I'm taking my stamp off so that I can use my block to blend on, and then not wanting to waste this scrap, I use that as my test piece. So I'll just pop that underneath there and I'll just scribble off on it. And now I've got my seedless preserves, and I'm putting, I probably don't need much, it's only a small bow, just enough there on your block, and mix it in, just a little bit of water. And like I said, this is not watercolour cardstock, so whatever you do, don't overdo your water. Now, you can tell by the way I'm colouring here that I can't see where I'm going at all. So I'm going to turn her upside down, see if I can get a better view. And if I've gone over the edges, you have to forgive me, because it's really difficult for me to see with my camera. So we've got that. And I think I need to be a little bit darker. Let's get rid of that pink. And then I'm going into the darkest bit again to do this bit under here. But hopefully you get what I mean, so that when you're using your dies, take a good look at everything that you've got, and also take a good look at the waste, because sometimes the waste can be just as exciting. Right, as I said, I am not sure whether that is correct or not, and I apologise if I was shouting. Now you can see you would have to go over again, because the pink is shining through your seedless preserves, but a second coat down there is going to get rid of that. But isn't that really cool? I love all the little soft folds, bless her. So from this one to that one, what more could you ask for? And as I said, flip it over and you've got bestie friends ghosties. Yes, you have. Right. I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as usual, all links below. Bye.